I'm sorry. You have to let him.
Oh.
All right, there. He needs to tell everybody what your purpose is. Feature number 4, sorry.
Diane02042014Tips will present the project number 4 from the present competent communication, how to say it. The objectives of the speech are select the right words and sentence structure to communicate with ideas clearly, accurately, vividly. Use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. Use correct grammar. She has 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, Tim. Once again, Diane02042014Tips.
Well, I want to start by thanking you for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. I have a question. Who here has a perfect life? Raise your hand. I want to meet you. I want to be your friend, actually. I think we can agree that life, it's not perfect. Regardless of who you are, you will encounter countless disappointments, losses, heartache, and situations of sorrow. It can be overwhelming. What matters in these situations is your mindset, or rather how you cope, adjust, and manage the consequences of these problems. I want to share a bit about my life and how I've managed to cope with a combined 17 weeks of radiation and 8 surgeries with 4 different kinds of cancer. It is actually National Cancer Day today, which is kind of funny. I've picked up some things on my long journey about how to inject more positivity into everyday life. I'll give you a couple of examples. 1, rather than focusing on how undesirable and uncomfortable it is to be strapped to a table for radiation, instead be thankful. Thankful that you live in a world that has a machine that can cure cancer. You see, there's 2 ways to look at it. On a lighter note, last year I decided it was time to finally lose the extra weight I've carried around forever. So I signed up and paid a lot of money for a 16-week doctor-supervised diet. It worked great. I lost 43 pounds. Now, does anybody want to guess what happened in weeks 17, 18, 19, and beyond? Yes, I started putting all the weight back on. I put on 25 pounds. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. And it's entirely my choice how I choose to look at it. I can focus on the fact that I put on 25 pounds, or I can focus on the fact that I'm down 18 pounds. And that's what I'm going to choose to do. I will always continue to try to lose more, but we'll see if that happens. 22 years ago, after just giving birth to my first child, I found a lump in my throat, the size of a golf ball. Now, who grows a lump this size and doesn't notice it? Why didn't I notice it when it was the size of maybe a walnut or a big juicy grape? Regardless, I did not notice it. I was quickly diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. I remember I came home, I was on the phone with my aunt, and she said, "Honey, if you have to have cancer, that is the one to have." And I went, "What? I have cancer?" I had no idea I had cancer. There was no iPhone to tell you anything you wanted to know in 5 seconds or less. We didn't have a computer at home. You know, I was a 31-year-old brand new mom. This didn't happen. But yet it did, didn't it? I was sent to Stanford to be part of a clinical trial that lasted for 12 weeks. I had massive amounts of radiation. It wasn't horrible. I managed to get through it. Life went on. 5 years ago, I again found a lump in my throat. This time, it was invasive, which are little fingers, invasive squamous cell carcinoma of the tonsil. So this is much more serious. It was tonsil cancer. So the treatment plan this time was surgery and 5 more weeks of radiation. I just want to tell you a little bit about the surgery. It was a neck dissection, which they start behind your ear and cut you down and around to here. Then they crack your jaw. So they saw through your jawbone, take out teeth, and basically swing your face out. Then they take the skin and the blood vessels out of your arm to put in your throat, and the skin off your leg to put on your arm and put it in a cast, and then put you all back together. Well, I can't tell you how happy I was when I woke up from surgery and found out they did not crack my jaw. I felt very happy about that. During this very, very trying time, a neighbor that I knew just casually set up a meal plan for our family. We had meals for 4 months. There were so many people that wanted to help. They wanted to drive us, pick up the kids, just any number of things. It was just amazing. But the best part of that illness was the fabulous, beautiful relationship I have with my neighbor. I consider her today one of my very best friends. Now I'll just skip right over the skin cancer that came a couple months later and move on to the bad mammogram I had later this very same year. It was the week of my 50th birthday. Now, I was happy to be alive. I was, but it was a rough birthday. That's getting to be a big number. So the doctor said, well, the tests are abnormal, but why don't we just look in 6 months and see what we see? And I said, oh, no. I don't like that plan. I asked for and received a double mastectomy. And thank God I did, because I did have breast cancer. Now, the last thing I expected during the year-long reconstructive process was to be entertained. Yet I found myself marveling at this surgeon. She would show up in head-to-toe designer clothes, Gucci, Prada. Now, I only know this because the assistant told me, because I would not recognize a Gucci or Prada. But she also would wear like 5-inch heels. These designer, you would hear a clip-clop down the hall coming into the room. She wore those heels every day. Ladies, can you imagine doing anything? And she was up in my age range. I can't imagine. 2 inches is really plenty. So just a few final thoughts. Instead of thinking about and looking, is your glass half full or half empty? Be thankful that you have a glass and something to put in it. Rather than focusing on my lab tests or the number on the scale, I'm happy I have eyes to see and legs to stand on. So I want to challenge you to go out there and find something to smile at, love, or laugh at, regardless of the situation you find yourself in. You will be glad you did.